Crypto custody firm BitGo is canceling its announced Prime Trust acquisition. BitGo said it was in the process of doing this acquisition, and then it said this morning on Twitter, hey, sorry, we looked into it. We're not doing it. It's been a rough road for Prime Trust. BitGo could have been a savior, but even BitGo says maybe it's too much for them to tackle. I had a bit of a flashback to the whole Binance FTX thing when I saw that BitGo tweet this morning, and we are going to unpack what is going on. David, what's up?
Yeah, so just to expand on your thought, what seems to have happened is that BitGo floated the idea that it's going to acquire Prime Trust, and it got a look at the books and said, no, thank you. And, you know, there's a lot of speculation out there right now about exactly what's going on. But, you know, the probable takeaway is that there's something wrong inside Prime Trust in terms of their, you know, actually holding on to customer assets, which is not good because Prime Trust is primarily a custodian, and that's their one job, as they say. Jen, I saw you want to jump in.
Yeah, I wanted to unpack that speculation a little bit more. So this is obviously like not anything that's confirmed, just speculation that's on Twitter, yes. But there's some speculation that there's a cease and desist from a state regulator. There's some speculation that there could be a hole in the balance sheet. And it just feels like we've been building up to this tweet, Zach, this morning that feels so reminiscent of times past over the past few weeks. You know, Bank, a subsidiary of Prime Trust, failed for bankruptcy a few weeks ago. Then we had True USD, which has a banking relationship with Prime Trust, pause on minting the stablecoin. It just feels like all of these things have happened, and maybe you know, in the past few days, I took a look at this company and said it's just not a good time from a regulatory perspective, and it's maybe not a good business decision given what's going on with the company and companies that are affiliated with it. Zach?
Yeah, I mean, you have some clients just straight taking to Twitter and saying, hey, you know, just so you guys know, Prime Trust has suspended deposits and withdrawals allegedly at the behest of a state regulator. So some of that speculation is informed speculation. We can posit, but as it relates to what's driving these problems, I think that is in the realm of speculation at the moment. But you are seeing companies that have worked with Prime Trust in the past go to Twitter today and say, hey, just so you know, deposits and withdrawals suspended. So something is indeed going on over there. Wendy, I want to get your take.
A little bit more than rumors, Wendy.
Well, I really agree with David's take on this. I have heard that they have, from a source of mine, that they have been in trouble for quite some time, and that it is all very true, that there are issues with their balance sheet and whatnot. I won't comment on what caused it because, again, it's not, I won't comment on what caused it, but yeah, that's 100% true. They are having some issues, and that's pretty much all. It's really sad to see because it feels like with all the recent actions of the SEC kind of attacking crypto, that we're really going to, our ecosystem in the United States is going to be forced to the TradFi entities, which people are championing for. Good. That's fantastic for them. I'll grift along with them and capitalize on that as much as I can financially, like everybody else. But at the same time, it's a little bit scary to see. And I don't think people really are going to understand the long-term effects if we don't have a lot of smaller crypto asset companies in the space. We don't want to see a monopoly in the US like we've seen with like cable companies and with other big US banks. But that's just my opinion. I'm an idiot on the internet.
Yeah, and specifically to the SEC and the regulatory situation, the timing here is potentially very ironic, perhaps, because what's working its way, albeit slowly and hesitantly, through the House right now is a market structure bill that would create a position specifically for custodians to serve exchanges, which is what Prime Trust was already doing. So they were sort of ahead of the law here potentially, but it looks like they're not going to make it to the point where they would have some position in the market enshrined in law that would have been very good for them if that had happened. So the timing stinks, it seems.
Yeah, also just like a historical footnote, BitGo, right, was almost acquired by Galaxy, and that deal did not go through, and that's been sort of winding its way through the courts with a bit of closure recently. So the idea that BitGo is now linked to two failed acquisitions, largely for very different reasons, is a bit of a footnote that should be mentioned. That's all I got. I don't know, Jen, any final thoughts on this one? We can change gears.
Well, I was going to ask David a question just on the topic of opinions and speculation. Previously, when it comes to news like this, we've seen the markets react, but they've been kind of stable. Like, what does that tell you anything? The markets haven't done anything on this news?
It looks like Wendy might have something.
I'm just looking at the message from my person, and they had a particular free service regarding lending out different coins to cover fees, and the people that I spoke with opted to not use them for that reason, and that could be the reason why they are in hot water.
That does not sound great. To answer Jen's question real quick, I think one reason might simply be that they're relatively small. I don't know the numbers, but the notices that we're seeing from customers are from relatively obscure exchanges and services. So it might simply be a matter of footprint, like they're not that big in terms of market impact, would be my thought.